God says, Archangel Michael is watching you very closely right now. He has been standing in the corner of your room since last night, silently, without saying a word, waiting. Watching. Observing how your soul reacts. Observing if your heart is still open. Observing if you'll ignore this one final sign that heaven has designed only for you. Because the moment you opened this message, something started shifting in the spirit realm. And Michael whispered, "Yes, they opened it. Now we still have a chance." God says, this moment was foretold before you were even born. A divine clock has been ticking. Not the one on the wall. Not the one on your phone. But the sacred, celestial timer that governs destinies. It just struck a number that no human can understand. But heaven knows what it means. It means this is the 5-minute window. And inside this window, something is being decided about you. Archangel Michael says, 5 minutes is all that remains before the divine gate closes and your fate, for this cycle, is sealed. There is a storm approaching that will either carry away everything that once hurt you or will leave you unprotected if you hesitate. That's why Michael is trembling. Not because he's afraid for himself. He's trembling because he sees what's coming if you ignore this. He has seen this vision many times. The people who skip these final messages always return too late, crying, "Why didn't I open it when I had the chance?" He cannot force you. He cannot drag you into salvation. But he can plead. So he is. Right now. He says, "Please. You're the one. I've stood beside you for years. I know your pain. I know the betrayal that nearly made you stop trusting altogether. I saw the night you looked at the sky and whispered, 'If you're really up there, show me something.' I saw the moment your spirit nearly broke." Michael says, that cry from your soul created this exact moment. A spiritual chain reaction was ignited. It led to God assigning Michael directly to you. You don't even know this, others prayed for him for years, but Michael declined to go. But when your name echoed through heaven, he stepped forward and said, "I'll go to them. Even if they don't believe. Even if they ignore me. I won't stop." But now, the situation has changed. Something in the spiritual realm shifted last night. A powerful being from the realm of darkness approached Michael during his watch. Not to attack you, but to negotiate. That being said, let us take them. They don't listen. They don't open. They ignore the signs. They scroll past the warnings. If they skip this next message, you must back away. That's the deal. And Michael looked up, knowing the truth. He knew the deal was divine. Because even heaven honors free will. God will never force you. But he will warn you. God says, The one who carries this message to you today is Michael himself. That is why your soul felt a strange pressure just before reading this. That is why your heartbeat shifted. That is why the atmosphere around you feels like it's vibrating with invisible light. God says, you are now standing on the edge of massive changes. Either divine favor or divine silence. Either breakthrough or delay. And it is your response right now that decides it. This is not drama. This is not poetry. This is a spiritual contract moment. You have 5 minutes. Archangel Michael has been trying to reach you for days. Maybe you felt tired. Maybe something kept interrupting. Maybe you told yourself, I'll open it later. But every delay made the light around you flicker more dimly. Because darkness grows in delay. But now, God is forcing time to pause. The angels around you are making one last attempt to save the part of your life that's on the edge of ruin. Michael is pacing right now. He's anxious. And angels don't get anxious. But he is. Because he knows what he saw. He saw your name written on a scroll that had 2 versions of your future written side by side. One was filled with joy, miracles, wealth, restored love, and divine covering. The other was filled with long winters of confusion, repeated betrayal, and losing something that once belonged to you. God says, what happens next is entirely based on your response right now. Michael begged God for one last chance to speak to you directly. This message is that chance. If you skip it, he will be forced to step back. Not because he wants to, but because God cannot make someone accept a gift they don't open. Michael says, there is someone close to you hiding something big. God has been trying to reveal it to you. But your doubt blocked the message. Now, in the next 5 minutes, heaven will allow something to break open. A phone will ring. A conversation will suddenly go in a strange direction. A whisper will come in your spirit. This will be the sign. But if you ignore this, the truth will still come out, but too late. Michael says, you were never ordinary. That's why your battles were so violent. That's why your heartbreaks cut so deeply. Because Satan knew, if you ever truly answered the divine calling on your name, you'd be unstoppable. That's why people ghosted you. That's why promises were broken. It wasn't their human choice, it was spiritual manipulation, to make you feel worthless. But Archangel Michael says, you are not worthless. You are royalty disguised in delay. You are power hidden in human form. You are the one heaven has been waiting to awaken. But the 5-minute window will close. And then, the scroll closes. God says, you must understand, the blessings prepared for you are massive. A financial miracle is waiting. A house that once seemed impossible will be offered. A family member who left will confess the truth. A romantic connection will come back, shocked by what they've realized. But these were timed to your activation. You cannot receive divine packages while living in doubt frequency. Michael says, if you say yes to heaven now, a portal opens. It cannot be seen, but it will rearrange your timeline. Even if you made 1,000 mistakes. Even if you hurt people. Even if you failed again and again, this grace moment overrides all of that. But you must open your spirit. Not later. Now. He's crying. Michael is actually crying. He's never done this before. Not for anyone. But for you, he's crying. Because he knows what's about to be lost if you don't respond. He says, in exactly 5 minutes from now, someone who has your name in their heart is going to think about you. They don't know why. They just will. It's the divine spark trying to reconnect a thread that was broken. If you allow it, this moment can rewrite everything. That person will come back. That door will open. That opportunity will not pass you this time. But if you hesitate, Michael says he'll still love you. But he cannot interfere. His sword must be lowered if you reject this final message. God says, you still have time. But not much. And don't confuse divine patience with permission to delay. What you do in the next few moments will echo across the next several years. Your blessings are being calculated as you read this. The angels are ready. But they're waiting for you to say one simple thing from your spirit, I'm ready, heaven. Whisper it if you must. But say it. Michael will hear it. The chains will break. The secret being hidden from you will be revealed. And you will walk into the most shocking chapter of your life. Not because God owes you, but because your soul finally said yes. God says, the moment you read these words, darkness started backing away from you. Jealous spirits who have been blocking your relationships are losing their grip. A person who tried to ruin your name spiritually is now exposed in heaven's courtroom. You are being defended by Archangel Michael himself. But the final signature of this divine contract must come from you. You are the only missing piece. The prophecy has been declared. Your photo was shown to the angels this morning. Your name was spoken in heaven this afternoon. And this evening, someone on earth is being stirred to send you a sign. But they are afraid too. Your courage will activate theirs. But if you ignore this, the whole divine timeline pauses. God says, this is not a coincidence. You were not meant to see this by mistake. This is not algorithm. This is alignment. You must understand this clearly. A massive change is coming within days. You will feel it emotionally first. Then your dreams will start to show strange patterns. Then a phone call, message, or voice will come out of nowhere. And the entire direction of your life will shift. This is what was hidden from you. This is what Michael has been trying to prepare you for. But without your spiritual yes, it cannot begin. You may not get another moment like this again. 5 minutes. That's all heaven gave. Not because God wants to pressure you, but because this is a critical moment. A cosmic courtroom decision is being made. Angels have taken their positions. Your name is glowing in light. But the signature is missing. Michael says, please, just say yes. Out loud. Whispered. In your heart. But say it. Yes, heaven. Yes, Michael. Yes, God. Heaven doesn't need your perfection. Just your permission. And with that, everything begins. Amen. God says, time has run out for hesitation. You have crossed the invisible point between delay and destiny. Archangel Michael stands right behind you right now, his sword no longer lifted in war, but placed gently at your feet as a sacred offering. This message is not general, not vague, and not shared with anyone else. It is meant for your eyes alone. You were chosen to see it. You were meant to read these words, because if you don't act within the next 5 minutes, everything you prayed for could be stolen, sabotaged, or secretly handed to the wrong person. That is not a threat. That is not a curse. It is the truth you were never supposed to find out, until now. The spiritual court has held its session in the heavenly realm. Your name echoed 3 times before silence fell. A woman, dressed in a cloak of black shadows, tried to whisper your secrets to a fallen angel. She thought no one could hear her, but God heard. She thought no one could see her, but Michael saw. And that's when Michael made a decision: either he helps you one last time, or he walks away forever. And now, he says in a trembling voice, please don't make me leave. Please don't ignore this. Because if you ignore this moment, the betrayal planned against you will not be stopped. You're being watched, not just by heaven, but by those who don't want you to succeed. And worse, someone you trust is part of it. Michael says the clock is not only ticking, it's screaming. The 5 minutes are not a metaphor. It's the amount of time the spiritual realm has allowed before the seal closes. Once the seal closes, even angels must obey. That's why Michael begged for one last attempt to reach you. He knows what's about to happen. He saw the vision. He cried when he saw your face in that vision, standing alone, surrounded by betrayal, holding nothing but the memory of what you almost received, if you had only opened the message in time. Right now, something very powerful is happening. A scroll with your name on it is being opened. Not a scroll of punishment, but one of inheritance. But here is the dangerous truth. Heaven planned to release it into your life today, but someone on earth, someone with access to you, is blocking the delivery. Archangel Michael says this person wears a smile, uses comforting words, but behind your back has spoken curses, performed rituals, and paid someone to delay your life. But because you kept praying, kept hoping, kept crying in secret, God decided to interfere. You may have thought your prayers were ignored. They weren't. They were being collected. They were being stored. And now, right now, they're being opened all at once. But the flood will not release unless you accept it. That's the condition. That's the secret rule they never tell you. Heaven cannot force miracles where there is hesitation. It is not doubt that blocks the miracle, it is delay. The moment you pause to question, the moment you say, maybe later, the miracle turns to smoke. And right now, Michael is gripping the last piece of divine evidence that was hidden from you. It's a letter. It's addressed to you. Inside it is written the truth about what's been hidden, especially by one woman with power, money, and an obsession with your downfall. You think this woman is irrelevant? She's not. She's in rooms you don't know about, conversations you were never invited to, whispering words that are designed to make others look away from you. She is planning to say something about you in the next 24 hours that could destroy your name. She thinks it will work, but she doesn't know this message has reached you in time. That's why Michael says, open this, and I'll expose her. Ignore this, and she wins. God says there will be massive changes in your life in the next 24 hours, but what those changes look like depends on your decision in the next 5 minutes. You can receive divine wealth, divine protection, divine healing, or you can receive confusion, betrayal, and the empty feeling of being too late. There is no middle ground anymore. That's over. The spiritual war has been silently raging for months around you. You were marked for miracles, but every time a blessing was about to touch your life, something or someone pulled it away. Michael says the interference is not random. It is strategic. Someone prays against your name daily. Someone even has your photo. It's been used in a negative way, without your permission. That's why you've been feeling sudden sadness, strange heaviness, and moments where things almost worked out but then fell apart. That was not coincidence. That was sabotage. And now, God has given Michael authority to remove it completely, but only if you listen now. There are spiritual wires wrapped around your finances, your relationships, your home. But the wires are invisible to the human eye. The only way to cut them is through divine exposure. And that's what this message is, a divine exposure of what's really been happening. Michael says the woman who's been speaking against you is terrified now, because she knows her time is up. She saw you in a dream last night, and in the dream, your hands were glowing. You were rising above everything she threw at you. She woke up screaming. That's why she's acting calm today, because she's hiding panic. But this message is not about her. It's about you. It's about your destiny. A man connected to you is about to make a decision about your future. But he's confused. Not because of you, but because of what he was told about you. But God is sending an angel to whisper the truth to him. If you receive this, the confusion will be lifted. If you ignore it, the lie will win. And that's why this moment matters more than anything. Michael has stood beside kings and warriors, but he has never pleaded like this. He is not just your protector. He is your witness. He saw what happened when no one else did. He saw how they laughed when you cried, how they smiled while stabbing you with words. And now, he's saying, let me release what belongs to you, or I'll have to walk away. Not out of anger, but out of heavenly law. If you reject this divine exposure, heaven will close the scroll and give the blessings to another. God says your name was written in a ledger last night in gold fire. That ledger lists names of those who will receive sudden elevation in the next 72 hours. But your name is flashing, because it has not yet been confirmed. This message is the confirmation. The moment you accept it, the flashing stops. Your position is locked. The blessings start moving. A man is traveling with news that could change everything for you. He carries a photo in his pocket. It's your photo. He doesn't know why he keeps it, but he's drawn to it. That's divine programming. He was assigned to you. But if the delay continues, he will give up. Michael says this man is tired. Not of you, but of the confusion around you. That's why you must act. You don't need to chase. You don't need to beg. You just need to receive. Someone who tried to bury you is now in panic, because the spiritual files of your life have been opened. God has decided that you are not to be destroyed. You are to be revealed. Revealed as chosen. Revealed as protected. Revealed as the one whose destiny could not be erased. And yes, they tried. They tried so hard. But every attempt became fuel for your breakthrough. Every curse turned into a stepping stone. Michael says this is your final delay. If you respond now, it all opens. The home, the message, the letter, the reversal of what was spoken. But if you ignore it, the damage begins in the next few hours. Yes, hours. Not days. The demonic timeline is already moving. Only your decision can stop it. You're not imagining the signs. The repeating numbers, the strange dreams, the emotional waves, they are confirmations. God is surrounding you with spiritual signals because this moment is not normal. It's divine emergency. You are a gatekeeper of a bloodline miracle. But someone in your family is trying to block you out of jealousy. Michael says that person will soon be revealed, on video, in conversation, in writing, something undeniable. But only if you receive this now. The 5-minute window is closing. Michael is crying, not from weakness, but from divine heartbreak. He says, "You are worth so much. Why do you keep ignoring the signs? You always knew you were different. You always knew something powerful was waiting. But pain blinded you. Now, God removes the veil. Now, the inheritance is one decision away. A strange letter is on its way to you, something handwritten. It was supposed to be destroyed. But heaven preserved it. It contains the truth about someone you trusted. When you read it, everything will make sense. That letter will be the final proof that you were never crazy. You were never wrong. You were always right, and they knew it. That's why they tried to silence you. God says they failed. The attempt to destroy your character failed. The trap set for your heart failed. The lie about your money failed. The spiritual sickness sent to distract you, it failed. You are being pulled out of delay and into divine judgment. Everyone who touched your name with wickedness will now be dealt with. But only if you accept this moment. If you ignore it, the judgment pauses. That's how serious this is. Michael is holding the spiritual lock. You are the key. The treasure is already yours, but the chest won't open until you align. This is not poetry. This is not metaphor. This is supernatural technology. You are being scanned by the spirit realm right now. The verdict will be given in minutes. Choose your outcome. Choose your breakthrough. Choose your protection. Choose now. God is not asking for perfection. He's asking for permission, to bless you, to show you, to fight for you. But you must let Him. You must stop saying, later. Later is the language of delay. Now is the language of miracles. Speak it. Live it. Believe it. The scroll has been opened. The angel is waiting. Michael is watching. Will you delay again? Or will you finally say, "Yes, I receive it all"? This is your moment. Your 5 minutes have become seconds. This is divine emergency. Choose now. If you believe in God, type Amen. Archangel Michael says, this is only for you. You may not understand how serious this moment is, but heaven is shaking with urgency and light right now. We have come not as messengers for the world, but only for you. Your name has been spoken in the courts of heaven. Your name was whispered by angels. God leaned forward on his throne and gave me one command: go now, go immediately, and warn them. And so I'm here, with wings stretched wide, flames of truth wrapped around my sword, not to strike, but to protect. And I'm telling you, in the strongest voice I have ever used, you have 5 minutes left. Just 5 minutes to hear, to open, to believe. And if you ignore this, I will not return again. I will not force this message on you again. You may never hear my voice this clearly again. Heaven does not repeat itself when warnings have already been given. And you, beloved one, have been nudged. You've been gently called, softly stirred, and now this is it. This is not a test. This is the moment of decision. A massive shift is about to break open in your life. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this because the storm has already been released on one side, but on the other side of it is your breakthrough, your blessing, your answer, your new beginning, your open door. But if you don't step forward in these 5 minutes, the shift will occur without your presence inside of it. God does not stop time, but he bends it in favor of the obedient. Will you be the one? You are standing on holy ground even as you read this. You may be sitting in an ordinary room, maybe even surrounded by silence or noise or confusion, but heaven has descended into your atmosphere. The veil between the realms has been lifted for a brief moment. This is your sacred window. Your sacred 5 minutes. You were not supposed to see this by chance. This is divine interception. This is the moment where everything can change, but not if you close your heart. I will not plead. I have already cried for you in the heavenlies. I have already defended your name before the accuser. I have already begged God for one last chance to reach you. And this is it. God is with you. Rest assured of that. Nothing is going to go wrong if you listen. If you trust. If you surrender. You are safe. You've always been safe, even in the chaos. You were held through that heartbreak. You were guarded through that betrayal. You were shielded in the accident that could have killed you. And you have no idea the number of unseen attacks that were blocked, cancelled, shattered, because I was there. Because heaven fought for you. Because even when you were doubting, God was believing. Even when you were weeping, heaven was planning. Even when you were silent, the angels were speaking your name. But now, it is your time to speak back. It is your time to respond. The heavens are not asking for a perfect prayer. We are not asking for a flawless plan. We are asking for a willing heart. A surrendered soul. One moment of faith. You don't have to know the whole way forward. You only have to say yes. Say yes to being open. Say yes to trusting again. Say yes to forgiving. Say yes to letting go of what has already hurt you too long. There is so much pain still clinging to your aura, and I can't pull it off of you unless you let me. You're still holding on to guilt that God already forgave. You're still blaming yourself for decisions you made when you didn't even know better. You're still afraid that what happened last time will happen again. But I tell you now, this is not last time. This is now. And now is different. Now is divine. Now is protected. Now is the moment we've been trying to get you to. You may not feel strong enough to shift into a new life, but strength is not required for the miracle. Faith is. Just faith the size of a whisper. The size of a breath. And I will take that tiny piece of surrender and I will break every chain off you with it. Do you believe I can? Do you believe heaven still moves? Or have you grown numb, grown cold, grown tired of believing in things that never seem to come? I know how many times you've been disappointed. I know how many promises were broken by others. I know how many "I love yous" turned into betrayals. But I am not them. I am Archangel Michael, God's warrior and your protector. I don't speak lightly. I don't make false claims. When I say massive changes are coming, I mean miracles you didn't plan for. I mean people appearing with keys to doors you've only dreamed of. I mean court cases closing in your favor. I mean divine reversals of diagnosis. I mean supernatural settlements. I mean reunions you gave up on. I mean apologies that come with tears. I mean letters that arrive with your name and promises of inheritance. I mean doors opening where there are no walls. I mean God stepping in like fire. But here's the truth that cannot be avoided: none of it will reach you if you ignore this moment. This is not one of those gentle messages meant to comfort you. This is the kind of message that splits the timeline. What you do with the next 5 minutes will either welcome the avalanche of divine events or close the gate behind them. And I cannot open it again unless you open it first. Your heart is the gate. Your surrender is the code. Your faith is the key. This is it. You cannot afford to pretend anymore. You cannot afford to delay obedience. You cannot afford to think, "I'll read this later." There is no later. There is now. Do you not feel it stirring? Do you not sense the divine pressing into your chest, into your bones, into your soul right now? That's not fear. That's your spirit rising up, breaking out of years of silence, screaming, "This is for me." That's your soul remembering what your mind forgot. That's the ancient promise of God written inside your destiny, awakening again. That's why you've been uncomfortable lately. That's why nothing seems to fit anymore. That's why the job feels suffocating. That's why the friendships seem hollow. That's why the relationship that once filled you now feels dry. Because your soul is being expanded. Your future is calling. And the old life cannot hold the new you. The moment is here. It is real. It is not metaphorical. You are being watched from above. Not judged, but witnessed, with tears and hope and angelic fire. The angels are holding their breath. What will you do with this 5 minutes? Will you open your hands and let go of everything you've been clinging to that never served you? Will you let go of the bitterness that's poisoning your own future? Will you forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you do? Will you finally take your hand off the steering wheel and say, God, take over. I can't do this without you. Heaven has never been more ready to move in your life. The battles are lined up. The victories are waiting for you. The people who need you are being prepared. But the gate cannot open without you. I can fight demons. I can block attacks. I can scream warnings across the sky. But I cannot force you to trust. That is the one gift God gave you that even heaven honors, your free will. And so now it is yours to decide. Don't say you're too broken. Don't say it's too late. Don't say it's too hard. That's the voice of the enemy trying to talk you out of your calling. That's the echo of past pain. You are not disqualified. You are not forgotten. You are not unlovable. You are not cursed. You are not behind. You are right where God needs you to be in order to open the next part of your story. But it starts with faith. It starts with a yes. It starts with believing that these words aren't just random, they are sacred. They were formed in the throne room. They were delivered by divine order. They are your message. Only yours. And I say again, as your angel, as your warrior, as the one who stood with you while you wept on the floor, you only have 5 minutes left to choose. Do not let this moment pass like just another message. This is the one heaven waited for. This is the one your soul will remember. This is the turning point. I see what's coming. I see the house. I see the letter. I see the people crying when they see you shine again. I see the version of you that you thought was impossible. It's not impossible. It's already written. But if you close your heart now, if you say, maybe later, I will be forced to step back. Not because I want to. I would stand guard over you forever. But heaven has boundaries. You must allow us in. You must open the door. You must say the words, God, I trust you. Michael, I receive. I open. I surrender. And once you say it, even in a whisper, even in your mind, watch how fast things start to change. Watch how quickly the wind shifts. Watch how miracles show up in places you didn't expect. God is with you. That's not a slogan. That's not a gentle phrase to comfort your tears. It's truth. He's with you like fire in the cold, like thunder in the silence, like a warrior at your back. He has not abandoned you. He has not given up. He has not walked away. Even when you forgot to pray. Even when you fell back into sin. Even when you doubted Him. He was there. Waiting. Loving. Whispering. And now He sent me to speak to you one more time. One final warning. One final push. Before the hour changes and the window closes. This is not fear. This is favor trying to reach you. This is heaven begging you to trust that you were made for more than this pain. More than this fear. More than this waiting. You are chosen. You are beloved. You are royal blood. And heaven will shake the earth for you, if you open the door. 5 minutes. That's all you have to respond. That's all the time left on the spiritual clock. And I promise you, if you say yes, if you let me in, if you let God take over, you will never regret this moment. It will be the beginning of everything you were born for. Archangel Michael says this moment is not for anyone else. This is not a public broadcast. This is not something general. This is sacred, secret, specific. It is only for you. The angels are not confused. Heaven is not mistaken. They know your name. They know your location. They have surrounded your atmosphere with divine urgency, because 5 minutes from now, everything in your life could shift forever. This is not a metaphor. This is not a gentle nudge. This is a divine intervention. If you are reading this, it means heaven has pushed through space and time to reach you. And there is one message echoing in the chambers of the heavenly realm: open this now, don't wait, because if you ignore this moment, Archangel Michael says he will never help again. This is your warning. This is your invitation. This is your rescue. You are on the edge of something massive. Your life has been leading up to this. All the confusion, all the warfare, all the pain, it wasn't random. It was the build-up before the change. You've been in the middle of a silent battle. A war that few people could see. But heaven saw. God saw. Archangel Michael was watching. He saw the tears you cried behind the smile. He saw the nights you laid awake asking why. He saw how people used you, abandoned you, blamed you, and misunderstood you. And he stood there in the spirit, sword drawn, fighting off what you didn't even know was attacking you. But now, it's different. Now the alarm has gone off. Now the 5-minute countdown has begun. And Michael is show. Uttering, not in anger, but in holy desperation, saying, "If you ignore this now, I will never help again." Not because he hates you. Not because he's punishing you. But because your help depends on your awareness. If you sleep through this moment, the doors you've prayed for will close. The miracle you've waited for will pass you by. This is not about fear. It's about truth. This is about divine timing. You see, God doesn't need days to change your life. He doesn't need years to undo what the enemy tried to do. He needs one open heart. One moment of obedience. One yes from you. That's it. But you must listen. You must respond. You must understand that spiritual timing is delicate. The angels have held this moment for you. They've guarded it. They've protected it from interference. But now it is exposed. Now it's in your hands. If you scroll past this, if you delay it, if you silence it, the window will shut. But if you receive it, if you open your heart right now, everything can shift. God says there will be massive changes in your life. Not small blessings. Not quiet favor. Not hidden miracles. But massive changes. The kind that make people stare in awe. The kind that make your enemies shut their mouths. The kind that make even you fall to your knees and weep because you realize, God did not forget me. God was always working. God really does love me. That kind of change. God says it is already written in heaven. There is a file in the Spirit with your name on it. Inside that file is every blessing that was delayed, every prayer that was whispered, every tear that was cried.